Hey guys, and welcome to night number 12 of Big Brother Season 24's overnight feeds recaps. And welcome to Cliff Notes as well. Hope y'all had a fantastic weekend. The house guests certainly did, most of them. They spent yesterday chilling outside for a large part of the day, enjoying the outdoors while they still have it. They'll probably have it again today, but then I'm sure they'll lose it Tuesday morning. So they're enjoying it while they can. But we did have some conversations that are worth talking about, some plans as we get ready for the veto ceremony today. So let's talk about all of that. Now, first of all, as a little bit of a refresher, Jasmine is the HOH. Taylor and Pooch are on the block with Pooch, the primary target. He's not completely aware that that's the case yet, but Pooch is certainly the primary target. Michael won the veto on Saturday. There was some talk about maybe him using it, put Joseph up, for example. I think at this point in time, Michael probably is not going to use the veto. So I expect Thursday night we'll have Taylor and Pooch on the block. And again, it's sounding like Pooch is probably going to be the first guy going home, the first person evicted from the Big Brother house following Paloma's exit last week. But we'll find out. There's still time to play. All right. Let's talk about what happened last night as all the house guests enjoyed the outdoors and a little celebration, everything going on. All right, first of all, just as the episode is ending on TV, Central Time, East Coast Time as well, the house guests got called to the storage room, very excited, thinking maybe they had a little beer waiting for them. Nah, not the case. But they did have cake mix and a party hat, apparently for Joseph's birthday. But someone pointed out that, hey, his birthday isn't until next Saturday. So maybe Big Brother jumped in the gun just a little bit in terms of getting supplies for a celebration next week. Maybe they figured that the house just needed something to do that was a little more exciting than just hanging out and lifting weights in the backyard. That could be. Or if you're a conspiracy kind of person, is it possible that with a little bit of a discussion about maybe putting Joseph on the block as a renom up against Pooch, maybe someone just threw out the party hats and the cake mix just to make people feel a little closer to Joseph right before the veto ceremony, just so maybe he's not put on the block and the nominations are kept the way they are with Taylor and Pooch. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Who knows? But anyway, so they got a little cake mix, little party hats, and they're excited about that. All right, now Jasmine learns that she hurt her ankle during the HOH competition, the first half of it. Didn't stop her from winning HOH, but she still has a fairly severe sprain, broken ankle. They did an x-ray. She says that she has a grade 3 ankle sprain. I didn't know what that meant, but I looked it up, and apparently a grade 3 sprain is the worst sprain possible. Typically signifies a complete ligament tear at the ankle. Sounds pretty bad to me. It says, or she says that she probably will get out of a boot 2 or 3 weeks or so. I have a feeling this may be something that she has to deal with for a large part of the remainder of the season. Even after she's out of the boot, while she's got it just wrapped or whatever, it may affect her in her game for quite a while. So not good news for Jasmine, but at least it's not broken. So at least she's not in the cast. She may have it a little bit easier than Christmas Abbott did. But I do think we're going to see her hobbling around for quite a while this season. All right, some conversations that took place overnight. Let's start off with Kyle and Daniel talking. Kyle is explaining to Daniel, saying, look, I'm leaning towards voting out Pooch on Thursday since I know the house. Seems like the house is leaning that direction. The HOH is certainly leaning that direction. And he tells me, he says, but I know you really want Taylor out, Daniel. And so I'm just telling you ahead of time, it's not against you. It's not against the guys, anything else. It's just, I want to be with the house. I don't want to alienate anyone right now. And it seems like the votes are there already. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So Kyle kind of checking in with Daniel, and Daniel saying, look, yeah, maybe, do I want her out? Maybe, but it's personal. And I understand that game wise, there may be other things, and it's fine. So we've got that. All right, we got Brittany and Michael talking together. I love seeing the two of these these two people working together. They're out in the hammock in the backyard. They're talking about trying to continue to work together. Yeah, I hope they do. Also saying that getting Turner out next week would be an easy week. That's the thing. If Pooch goes out this week, Turner is probably his tightest person in the house. So it would be easy for anyone who wins HOH just to follow up putting Turner on the block, and that could work. But having said that, the guys on that side, the kind of the guys alliance, if they see two of theirs go out one right after another, it's going to raise all kinds of red flags and alarm bells for them. So I do think there's some implications if they follow up with Turner. Yeah, it may be an easy vote. You won't have a whole lot of resistance from enough people to make a difference, but you'll certainly have some people on alert as well. All right, we've got them talking a little bit more. Brittany is talking about Joseph. Apparently, Joseph told her, said, "Look, the one thing, if Pooch needs to go, that's fine." He said, "The one thing I would hate to be blindsided in terms of the rest of the house voting one way, and I'm not aware, and I vote against the house and all of that." He said, "That's my biggest fear. If Pooch goes, Pooch goes. I just wish I knew." And Brittany is talking to Michael, saying, "Look, maybe Wednesday night, sometime within 24 hours of the eviction vote, what if we tell Joseph that it looks like the house is leaning towards voting out Pooch, and we just want to let him know, just a nice little heads up and all that." Brittany thinks it may be a way to build up a little bit trust with Joseph if he feels like they gave him some information to allow him to vote with the house and all that. So they're talking about trying to just get a little bit closer with Joseph going forward. All right, we've got Alyssa and Kyle talking. This is kind of interesting. Alyssa is warning Kyle that a bunch of people are starting to think that maybe they could be in some kind of showmance together. Kyle says, "What? I haven't seen it." And Alyssa says, "Nah, people who've said it." So they basically decide they're going to maybe try to keep their distance from each other just a little bit. Now, I got to say, later on in the evening, there was a little more flirting. I don't know. It certainly seems like they're hanging out together a little bit. So, yeah, no showmance right now, but I could see it a little further down the road if they chose to go that direction. That was kind of interesting to see. But they have said for right now they're going to keep their distance. Alyssa does tell Kyle that she's going to vote out Pooch, just so she can vote with the girls. And she says if she doesn't do that, Indy's going to go ballistic, and she doesn't want to get Indy all upset. So she just give Kyle a heads up. She is going to probably be voting with the girls. She's also saying that Amira had said that Monty tried to create a final two with Amira. So again, Alyssa kind of spilling some of the beans from the women's side to Kyle. Now, Kyle was in the shower during this entire conversation, didn't have his mic on, so I really couldn't pick up any of his responses to a lot of that. I'm surprised Big Brother didn't make him go put on his microphone. But Big Brother's so weird. Kyle sitting there, not a stitch of clothing on in the shower. He's sitting there talking right next to Alyssa and talking about showmance and all that. That's just a weird dichotomy inside the Big Brother house sometimes. Yes, that's the right word, right? I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. But so they're continuing to share information with each other. All right, we got Pooch and Turner in the storage room. Pooch is still thinking that he probably has the votes, but it'll be close. There's some people that he thinks he has, some of the guys and people like Nicole and Daniel, that he's not going to have. Man, he doesn't realize that he still thinks it's going to be close, but he's got the votes to survive it out. But he says, otherwise, I can't believe if I don't have the votes, then there's a lot of people lying to my face about how they're going to vote, and I just don't see it happening. Well, Pooch, they didn't bring 16 people on the Big Brother who weren't good at lying. I'll just throw that out there. That's you can't trust anyone in this house. Pooch is saying that getting him out would be smart, but the girls are way too petty about wanting Taylor out, and they're not nearly smart enough to actually go after him this week. Well, Pooch, I think you're severely underestimating the women in this house, and you're probably going to pay the price for it. All right, we've got Indy, Alyssa, Brittany, and I said Indy again, HOH. Who am I missing? Probably Mira. Indy is suggesting that they let Taylor win HOH next week and saying, look, let Taylor win. Let her take out some guys and all of that. And then we'll send her home the following week. And someone, I think Jasmine says, yeah, but she said that she would want to put up a girl pawn next to the guy. And they're all saying, yeah, no, two guys. Well, we don't want any girls up there as pawns either. So they're going to talk to her about a little bit later. But Indy has thrown out the idea. And I thought it was interesting, not just to let Taylor do the dirty work, but the fact that she's still saying, and then we'll vote her out right after that. So it seems like Taylor's working a little bit closer with the girls, but you still don't have the bond quite where it needs to be for them truly to be a partnership. All right, later we've got Taylor coming in, talking to Jasmine and Amira and Brittany, and telling the ladies that her original plan when she came into the house really was to target a girl right off the bat. But she says, That's not anymore. That was early. Right now, I'm going after the guys exclusively. I don't want y'all to worry. I'm going after the guys. Taylor's doing everything she can to fit in with this women's group and make sure that they trust her and that they feel like they can work with her. It's what she needs to do. I think that's her path to sticking around in this house. She's not there yet, but I think she's doing what she can to get that direction. All right. I mentioned they got the cake mix and the party hats, but no beer or wine. Well, Big Brother decided to be a little nicer. Gave him a little beer and wine a little bit later in the evening to not celebrate Joseph's birthday, but to celebrate Indy's 1 year anniversary of being a U.S. citizen. Apparently, she's lived in the States for a lot longer than that, had a green card, but 1 year ago today, she got her citizenship papers. Congratulations, Amira. They had a little bit of conversation with Amira talking about how great it is living in this country, that Americans tend to take this country for granted. And she says, yeah, there's problems here in this country as well, but compared to other countries, pretty good. And I gotta say, I agree with you, Amira. And Amira, congratulations to you, Indy. And I'm happy you're a U.S. citizen. And you certainly are making the Big Brother house just a little bit more fun, a little bit more entertaining. Glad you're on the TV screen. All right. We've got Jasmine and Taylor and Nicole and Alyssa again in the HOH room. And Taylor, at this point, she's really putting on the full press. And I know it's part campaign, but I think she really is trying to build something with these ladies. She's talking to them saying, look, I apologize for rubbing y'all the wrong way originally. She says, my goal is to help all of y'all, for us to be a unit, to work together. And that, you just have to know that I'm here for y'all, and I'm not, it's about getting the guys out. That's what I want done. So they start talking about the fact that they would love to get 7 women to the very end of this thing, have all of them last. Well, now that would be impressive. I don't think there's a chance in the world it happens, but it would be incredibly impressive. But they want the 7 of them to make it to the very end. And they mentioned, said, well, 11 people, the last 11 people, the 9 jury members plus the final 2. So if there's 7 women, we're going to have 4 guys in that jury as well. Who do they want? And they've pretty much decided that they want Daniel and Michael and Terrence and Joseph as their jury members, which means Pooch, Turner, Monty, who am I missing? I can't remember who else. And Kyle are the ones that they would like to just go ahead and see go home pre-jury. Alyssa didn't say anything. Let's see what Alyssa thinks about Kyle maybe not making it to jury, but they've figured out not only that they want to be the final 7, but who the guys they want to drag along with them as well. It's not going to be that easy, but that's all right. We're going to see how it plays out over the season. All right, we've got Taylor. Now, this was a little interesting. Well, I got Taylor talking quite a bit about just wanting to make out and flirt and all of that. She's mentioned a couple of times during this conversation that she just wants to flirt with Daniel to make it look like they're chasing a showmance. They realize that all the girls hanging around upstairs, what are the guys thinking about it? And someone says, oh, they just think we're up here talking about showmances or something. Yeah. So Taylor says, I'll just go flirt with Daniel and make it look like I'm wanting a showmance with him. So that's what I kind of think, because it continues on for a little bit longer throughout the evening. Taylor also mentions that I think the girls at this point say, look, I know you wanted maybe a girl out at one point, or you wanted a girl up as a pawn at one point. You talked about maybe wanting a girl out at the very beginning, but if we're going to trust each other, what are your game plans? What are your plans now, Taylor, if you were to win HOH? And Taylor actually says, well, I want Monty and Kyle out. Those are 2 people that I want out of this house. And she says, I don't want to put up Daniel, even though Daniel put me up and he thinks I'm coming after him. She says, I don't want to put Daniel up because I just soon have him in jury. I would prefer that. So they've got that. And again, lots more talk from Taylor about maybe wanting to make out. Now, here's the thing. I think it kind of fits in with what Taylor said in her preseason interview, that she wanted to have everyone thinking that she was not as smart as she actually is. And one of the ways she was going to do that was by making everyone think that she's just in the house to get a showmance going. And if everyone thinks that she's just focused on that, they maybe won't worry as much about her as a strategic threat. So I have a feeling as Taylor's getting a little more comfortable with the ladies, she may be going to this game plan a little bit about trying the showmances on. Who knows? Maybe she really is looking for a showmance, but she did say in preseason that was part of her strategy to make people think that she was just focused on that. And we hear a little of that conversation this evening. Later, she's downstairs talking to Daniel while he's showering and just doing a little flirting and everything else. Not sure how Daniel would respond to it. He still seems like a little bit of a personal grudge against Taylor, but she's flirting with him a little bit. Well, we'll see how that develops. All right, we've got Joseph and Pooch talking to each other and mentioning that I think Joseph is the one that says that Amira asked Joseph if he had an alliance with Pooch. Oh, that's right. Joseph coming out saying, "Hey, just be warned, Pooch. You got to stick around." But Amira has already asked me if you and I have an alliance together, and Joseph saying, "I told her no." And she then said, "So you're telling me that you and Pooch and Turner don't have any kind of connection?" And Joseph is saying, "I told her that I didn't have an alliance with him, and I don't even think that you and Turner have an alliance with each other." But she's asking the questions, Pooch, so you need to be aware. And is just warning Pooch. And he's also warning Pooch saying, "Look, don't trust anyone who aren't us. You can't trust people in this game. There's a lot of people asking questions. No one is trustworthy in this house. If it's not you and me, don't trust anyone, Pooch." Probably a good idea. All right, we've got Nicole and Daniel talking up in the have-not room. They're talking while we get a little background of Terrence snoring away. Terrence is already asleep, and they're not worried about him at all. I do remember one time when I was in the Big Brother house, my season, where I heard Christy and Sis come in, and they started talking, and I woke up just enough, but I just kept snoring even while I was listening. I wasn't really asleep, but snoring anyway, and so they thought I was sound asleep, and I got to listen to a little conversation about some of their plans and everything else. So don't always assume that people aren't listening when they're in the room with you, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. We've got Nicole and Daniel talking. Nicole is saying that America, I'm thinking of this right here. Nicole says Amira said that she's close with Jasmine, but not as close with Alyssa. They're both kind of talking about Amira. So many alliances, it's tough to keep track with. And they're saying that really America, doing it all over you, that really Amira has too many alliances at this point in time, that she needs to make some choices about who she's actually going to work with. Because right now she's spread out everywhere. And that's true. And here's it. I think Amira's playing a good game. She's got relationships with everybody, which is good, but she does have a lot of commitments and such as well. And you can't honor all of them. If Amira ever gets HOH, it would be interesting to see, because she's going to have to declare some loyalties at that point in time based on who she puts on the block. Right now, there may be a couple of targets she could get away with and still keep all her alliances in check. A little bit later down the road, yeah, she's going to have to start cutting some people loose. So they have recognized that she's way too spread out, or that she certainly is spread out with a lot of alliances, and saying that may need to change. Nicole is talking a little bit about Taylor and something similar to what Indy said. Nicole is saying, look, let's just use Taylor to get out, get out some of the guys or whatever. And then the guys will come back. They'll take her out. No blood on our hands. And maybe we just use her as a bit of a tool for the short term. We've also got Nicole talking to Daniel. Daniel talks about the fact that Brittany is really starting to open up to him. Now, remember, Daniel wasn't a big fan of, Brittany may be okay, but Daniel was not a fan of Michael at all in the beginning. But it really seems like Brittany and Michael are growing a little bit in terms of their interactions with Nicole and Daniel. And Daniel's starting to trust Brittany a little bit more, but Nicole is warning Daniel, saying, look, don't tell her too much information. She'll tell other people. There's no secrets when you tell it to Brittany. Just be warned, she'll use that information. So they've got that. They're both also talking a little bit about the eviction on Thursday. And this kind of gets back to what Pooch had said earlier in the evening about, I can't believe that all these people are lying to my face about the votes if I truly am in trouble of going home. They're talking about the fact how hard it is to lie about the eviction vote. They're both, I think, planning to vote out Pooch, but obviously they're not saying that to Pooch or his kind of bros that are there with them. And they're saying it's hard. It's hard just to have to continue to lie to someone that you're going to cut loose and be friendly and everything else. Welcome to Big Brother. Yeah, that's part of it, but I get it. And with that being said, finally, all the house guests are in bed. I don't know, about 4:30 or so in the morning. And there you have it, guys. Today is a veto ceremony. We'll see what happens. I fully expect for Taylor or Michael to not use the veto on Taylor or Pooch especially. So I think Taylor and Pooch will be on the block on Thursday. I fully expect Pooch to go home. But again, we got 72 hours or so, 96 hours. So we got a little ways to go. But I think that's going to be the way it goes. But we'll find out. We'll see what happens with the veto ceremony today. I'll be back to talk to you about it on Tuesday morning. Until then, guys, have a great Monday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.